This is Alysson, and I'm here with the Baby Lock Solaris Vision. The Solaris Vision is Baby Lock's top-of-the-line sewing, quilting, and embroidery machine. And today we're going to be talking about all of the different embroidery features. If you would like to know more about the sewing features, please check out our sister video, which covers all of the accessories and all of the sewing features. On the embroidery side of things, the Solaris Vision has an embroidery field of 10 5/8 by 16 inches and comes with a hoop of that same size. It also comes with 3 different hoops, a 10 5/8 by 10 5/8, a 5 by 7, and a 4 by 4 hoop. It has 901 different built-in designs and 38 different fonts. It's also Wi-Fi compatible, so you can use Baby Lock's free database design transfer to transfer your designs wirelessly from your PC to the machine. Also, if you use Baby Lock's digitizing software, Palette 11, you can transfer designs that you've made or edited to the Solaris Vision as well. So one of the great things about the Solaris Vision is we can do a lot of editing without having to use outside design editing software. As we look through our 901 different designs, as we pick one, I can do a lot of changes and I have a lot of options to let my creativity flourish just on the machine. In our editing features, we have the options to size these designs by quite a bit. I can increase my design size by 200%, and the machine will recalculate my stitches so that I don't have any bare spots. And I can also decrease the size of the design by 60%. And again, it will recalculate my stitches. I can move the design wherever I would like to around my screen using my finger or a stylus, and wherever I see my design is landing is where I'm asking it to stitch out in my hoop. The machine is going to let me know which hoop I need to use in order for my design to stitch out in that place. It also lets me know the size of my design, and I can choose either inches or millimeters. I can also use a move feature built into the machine for more precise movement, and then I can also reset it back to the center. We can rotate our design by 90 degrees, 10 degrees, 1 degree, or 1/10 of a degree, and then I can also reset it. We can mirror image our design and then copy it as many times as we like to. And then I can delete each one. We can also change our density. So if you're working with something and stitching a design, say onto a towel or terry cloth, and even when you're using a topper, if it's not quite covering, we can increase our density of the stitches so that it covers a little bit better in your project. We also have a border feature. So I can copy my design as many times as it'll fit in my hoop, either horizontally or vertically, and repeat it multiple times. And then I can also repeat that entire row if I like. And then I can reset it back to the same single. We also have the option to add a satin stitch around our design and see what the pattern would look like if we chose different colors. Now this button right here is going to allow me to put quilting fills around any design that I have on the machine. So I can use either a stipple, which is a pretty standard quilting fill, and I can also change the distance that the stipple is going to be from my embroidery design. And so this is going to create a little bit of space between my design and the quilting fill itself. I can also change the size of my stipple. Now we also have the option to use an echo fill, and we have those same spacing options from the width of the echo fill itself to the distance from our embroidery design. But the other really fun thing here is we have 48 different quilting fills that are also in the IQ Designer portion of the machine that we can use on the embroidery side and add that as a quilting fill. So we have 48 different options that we can work with and add those to any design that we put on the machine. We let the machine know what size of hoop we're working with, and it's going to adjust everything to accommodate that hoop size. Now, this next function is one of my favorites. This is called a no-sew function. So let's say you really love this feather, but you really don't want the yellow to stitch out. You just want the color of the fabric that you're stitching it onto to shine through the design. So we can go into our no-fill section, go to the yellow portions, and ask them not to stitch. And the design is going to stitch out exactly as we see it here. And so as we stitch, it's just going to skip those threads in line. And then we can save it like that and stitch out with the quilting fill around it, with the spacing that we chose, and then with the no-sew features that we chose as well. And then we're ready to stitch. The machine's going to let us know how big our design is, and it's 10 5/8 by 10 5/8. It's going to show me a line of progression for the stitches that we have. And it's also going to show me how long each stitch is going to take. For a culmination of 38 minutes for this particular design, 8 different thread changes, and 28,551 stitches. So next we're going to take a look at the other features of this machine that make hooping super easy and also quilting in the hoop super easy. The Solaris Vision also has a few specialty embroidery stitch categories. These are super fun to work with. The first one that I want to tell you about is the couching feature. We have a couple of different couching options. Some of them are different shapes, and couching is where we're going to be stitching onto yarn and creating texture with our embroidery, as opposed to just using stitches. We're incorporating the feel and the look of yarn to create beautiful designs. So some of these are different designs that we can use to create a little bit of fluff. And then we also have an alphabet that we can work with. And the alphabet is also going to have numbers and punctuations. Now, the fun thing about this alphabet is we can use it to create all sorts of different shapes. So here's a sample of something that we created. And it's a little placemat. And this was just using the letter D and the periods built into the alphabet. This is so much fun to work with. Frankly, we've been addicted. Another feature built into the Solaris Vision are the long stitches. So these are going to create long stitches. These are not able to be edited because the stitches are a little bit fragile, but it creates a beautiful texture to add any accent to your home decor. And here are your designs built in here. You have 10 different long jump stitches. We also have the option of quilting in the hoop. Now, the quilting in the hoop feature is extremely easy to use. So in our quilting in the hoop options, what we do is tell the machine how big the quilt is that we want to quilt. We're going to choose these snowflakes. So I'm going to let the machine know that my quilt is going to be 72 by 72 inches. And then I'm going to let it know what size hoop I want to work with. We'll work with the largest hoop, the 10 5/8 by 16. And then I can also decide if I want the design to stitch out the same way next to each other each repeat, or if I would like to flip it and change the look a little bit. And I have 4 different options of the way the design will stitch. I like that one, let's go with it. Now, once we choose that option, it's going to let me know how many different pieces of hooping we're going to have and the direction that we are going to be hooping it in. I'm going to save the design to memory. And then when I pull this design up, it's actually going to walk me through how to hoop the design. So that way everything lines up perfectly for my stitch out. Another good thing about this machine is I have a really hard time messing anything up because it's going to let me know. Attach the embroidery frame, lower the presser foot, or even if I've run out of bobbin thread. And then it walks me through taking the hoop out and putting it back in so that everything is lined up and I don't miss any stitches in my embroidery. Now, another feature that they added, another section to the embroidery, are these long embroidery designs, and these are continually hooped. So these designs are actually too big for any of the hoops that we have on the Solaris Vision, but just like quilting in the hoop, it walks us through how to hoop it so that we don't have any mismatch of our stitches. So this design right here is 28.35 inches by 14.96 inches, far bigger than our hoops. But when I choose this design, we stitch it out and it's going to walk me through how to hoop it at the end of each stitch out. Now, as we talk about how easy it is to hoop on the Solaris Vision, let me show you just how easy it is. The first thing that we're going to work with is one of our 38 fonts, and we're going to put our name on this fabric right here, and I have my crosshair lined up already. So I'm going to put a name here right above this pencil that says Ambition. So let's type in a name. Now, as I'm working with my fonts, I have a ton of different options for editing these. I can move the size from large, medium to small. I can array my font, and I can also change the curve, make it less curvy or more. We can stair step the design. I can ask it to curve more automatically and in either direction. And then I can reset it if I like. We have our capital letters and then our lowercase, punctuation, numbers. We can change the spacing of our design and make it a little bit wider, or we can also make it a little bit less wide. And then I can reset it back to where we started. I can also change the font if I decide that that's not the one I like. So we're going to choose the slightly cursive look, and then we're going to set it. If I decide that I want to change anything in it again, I can go back to my font editing under my standard edit screen. And now to show you how easy it is to place. When I'm ready to stitch, I'm going to touch embroidery. And one of the things that we have with the machine are positioning stickers. I'm going to position my sticker right here on my crosshair. And one of the options that I have in my layout menu is a button that looks exactly like my positioning sticker. We'll attach the frame. Put our little door down, and then the machine is going to use its camera to scan for my positioning sticker and adjust the name so it's going to line up perfectly where I want it to stitch. So it's angled my design for me, and I don't have to worry about re-hooping this fabric multiple times in order to get my design to land exactly where I want. It lets me know to remove the embroidery sticker, and then I'm going to put the presser foot down, and we're going to stitch. We also have a couple of other options for easy placement. With the machine having a camera, we're going to be able to place designs very easily with or without the positioning sticker. So we're going to make a keychain here, and I have a little bit of 1-inch webbing across my hoop. And I'm going to place the hoop in the machine, and we're going to go back to working with our fonts. So I'm going to add a name again. We're going to go to medium size, and then I'm going to use my camera to scan what's in my hoop. So I can manually adjust where my design is going to land once the camera has scanned. So now I can see exactly where my webbing is in my hoop, so I can adjust where my name is going to land and make sure that it fits perfectly onto the webbing. So we'll decrease the size of the name and then rotate it so that it fits exactly how I like. Now before we actually stitch it, I'm going to double check using the projector feature on the Solaris Vision. And now the machine is going to show me exactly where this is going to stitch, so I get perfect placement every time.